Welcome to MatheNatic. We are busy revising equations for grades 10, 11, and 12, paper 1. And in this video, we want to solve for x. So here we are given 5x plus 9 divided by x squared minus 2x minus 3. Our second term is negative 2x divided by 3 minus x. And on the right-hand side, we have x divided by x plus 1. So normally students find fractions quite difficult, but what you need to do is actually focus on the denominators first when we want to solve for x. So the first step is to inspect the denominators. And do you notice that in our first fraction, we have a trinomial which we can easily factorize. So x squared minus 2x minus 3 factorizes to x minus 3 times x plus 1. And if I investigate the denominators, I notice that in the second term I have 3 minus x, but in the first term we only had x minus 3. So the second term is the wrong way around compared to the first term. And what you can do is you can factor out a negative, or we can do a sign change. So if I take out a negative 1 in this expression, then the x will become positive and a positive 3 would become negative. Some teachers call this the sign change rule, where they change this negative to a positive and then switch around the terms. But the reason why we do that is so that we can have an x minus 3 in the second term as well. And in a third term, or on the right-hand side, we already have an x plus 1. So that's our first step. Factorize the denominators where you can. And if you need to do the sign change rule in order for that denominator, or the second denominator, to look almost the same as the first. So here we can see the sign change rule as mentioned before, and now we continue investigating our denominators. And we want to create the lowest common denominator. So in the first term, we have x minus 3 and x plus 1. But in the second term, we only have an x minus 3. So it needs an x plus 1. And on the right-hand side, we only have an x plus 1, so it needs an x minus 3. So our lowest common denominator is x minus 3 times x plus 1. And I want you to notice that there are restrictions on x. X cannot be equal to 3, and x cannot be equal to negative 1, because this will make one of the denominators equal to 0. So let me show you what I mean. If I make x equal to 3 in this denominator, then we have 3 minus 3, which is equals to 0. So that will become 2x divided by 0. And in mathematics, we are not allowed to divide by 0. The same goes for negative 1. If I take the denominator on the right-hand side and I replace that x with negative 1, we have x over negative 1 plus 1, which is x over 0. So again, the denominator becomes 0 and we are not allowed to divide by 0. So when we are solving for x, we do not want our answer to be plus 3 or negative 1. Now in our next step, you can see that the denominators have disappeared. And it's not magic. What I'm doing is I'm multiplying the numerators now with the parts of the lowest common denominator that I need. So do you notice in the first fraction, we already have x minus 1, x plus 3 in the denominator. So the first fraction will remain or stay as 5x plus 9 in the numerator. In the second fraction, we need an x plus 1 in the denominator. So I'll multiply with x plus 1 in the numerator as well. And on the right-hand side, in the denominator, we need x minus 3. So I'll multiply this x with x minus 3. So actually what you are doing is you are multiplying every single fraction with the LCD. and parts of the fraction would cancel out. But you don't have to worry too much about that. The easiest way to do this is to look at the denominator. If nothing is missing, then you don't need to multiply anything. But can you see here, we have an x plus 1 missing, so we multiply that numerator with x plus 1. And on the right-hand side, in the denominator, x minus 3 is missing, so we multiply the numerator with x minus 3. Now we have gotten rid of the fractions, and we can simply multiply out. So we have 2x times x is 2x squared, and then 2x times 1 is simply 2x. On the right-hand side, we have x times x, which is x squared, and x times negative 3, which is negative 3x. And then you move all your terms to the left-hand side. This is called writing the equation in standard form. That is when you have all the terms on the left, and it's equal to 0 on the right. Now, in previous videos, we have spoken about adding and subtracting like terms together. So I've done that immediately. I added all the like terms together after I moved these terms to the left, and that's simplified to x squared plus 10x plus 9, which for me is a simple trinomial to factorize. So if you struggle with the factorization, you can always use the quadratic formula. So that is x is equals to minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac in the square root divided by 2a. And we have spoken about how to do the substitution. Alternatively, you can use your calculator, and you can use mode 5 and then 3 in order to find the two values of x. So now when you have your factors or your quadratic formula, you see that x is equals to negative 9 or x is equals to negative 1. That satisfies this equation. But if you compare these results to the original question, we have noticed that x cannot be equal to negative 1 because it will make one of the denominators equal to 0. Therefore, we reject x equals to negative 1, and x equals to negative 9 would be our only answer that satisfies the original equation. Thank you for watching. Remember to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to MatheNatic.